My name's Jess. I live in Cheltenham in the UK. When I was 17, I walked away from a loving Christian family and just decided to go off and do my own thing. I knew everything that I was supposed to be doing and that God had a plan for my life, but I just didn't want to do it. I ended up falling for a guy, moving in with him, and he ended up being really abusive. He tried to kill me several times. While I was gone, I always knew that God was still there and that God existed. I would tell people that we weren't on speaking terms, which is rubbish because he was speaking and I wasn't. I was just not in a good place and I didn't think I could be good enough. I started to go home to my parents' house on Sundays and we would watch God TV. Joyce Meyer was on and she was talking about, oh, you're in the right place at the right time. And I kind of sat there like, yeah, right. And then Joseph Prince came on and he said the same thing. And he quoted the Bible verse that I'd read that morning. And I thought, okay, this is getting weird now. I realized I needed to come home. I was depressed. I was facing traumatic stress disorders from stuff that had happened. I comfort-ate a lot because of the guilt of everything I'd gone through and I put the weight on, and I got diagnosed with a genetic condition that meant that my joints had issues basically. So my mobility started to decline quite rapidly. I had a bad dislocation that actually broke bone in my leg. I'd had operations to try and correct that so that I could walk again, but my mobility declined so much that I ended up in a wheelchair. I sat there in the chair and would think, I deserved what was happening to me because of all of the bad choices I'd made. I felt like this was justice. One morning I went to church and there was a guy teaching and he was talking about Bartimaeus the blind getting up and throwing his cloak aside, and that really resonated with me that morning. That was like a symbol of his disability and he just threw it away and ran to Jesus. When they asked if anyone wanted to come up for prayer, I kind of thought, do you know what, I can walk a few steps, so I'll get out of the wheelchair and I'll try. And I ended up walking to the front, standing for prayer for about 15 minutes, thinking I haven't fallen over, oh my gosh. And I ended up walking out of the building, pushing the wheelchair. It's been about 1.5 years since I've used the wheelchair now. I can walk around the supermarket without having to stop, and it's amazing. Life is good now. God TV is on in my house all the time. I've been struggling with loneliness when I'm at home during the week, and I sat in front of my TV. The moment I turned it on, there was this really odd moment where Fergus was interviewing Jess Earle, and Fergus said to her, what would you say to all of the other Jesses out there?
Would you take time to minister to the other Jesses that are out there?
My ears pricked up and I was thinking, what? They're talking to me.
You're not alone in this. Even if you don't have a husband or parents or counselors or anything like that that can help you, that doesn't matter, that's all great. But the thing that truly set me free and changed me was Jesus.
It just really hit me that they were talking out of the TV right to me. It was just really reassuring. God TV really gives an opportunity for God to be able to speak to people in their living rooms. It's important because people watch so much television that just flicking through the channels, someone can find Jesus because it's there and it's available. There's something really special about being a partner with God TV because you're part of people that are getting saved in countries you've never even been to. You're part of that. It's not because I'm giving the money, it's because it's making a difference to someone. Since I got saved through Christian media, I think it makes sense to then support that going forward and have that as part of my mission field. What better thing could you spend your money on? Like, give something to God TV and send the message to someone that hasn't heard it, or go and buy a cup of coffee. I know which one I'd rather pick.